All right, people, what up? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Evil Eye coming to you again with a preview of the Arsenal game that takes place at the Emirates on Sunday, and it is facing Bournemouth. And first things first, let me do my apologies. I know I went on a bit of a tangent and a bit of a rant on Wednesday night. I'm just so fed up of Arsenal's bullshit. That's the long and the truth of it. I just am. All I want is just for some consistent performances out of this team. Um, and I guess it's doubly frustrating because you can feel we're on the edge of something. And I know it will sound laughable if you're not an Arsenal fan. Hell, it will sound laughable if you are an Arsenal fan. But in my opinion, it feels like we're on the edge of greatness. But something is stopping us from actually achieving it. We've got a squad, and yeah, there could be, there could be some tweaks in that squad that could be made. We could have a better backup right back. We could have a really top class left back. We could have a top class centre forward. And yes, those are the things that we could have. But this squad, in my mind, is more than good enough to compete, not necessarily win, but compete in the Champions League and win this damn Premier League title for Wenger in what, I don't know, one would assume is his last season. So we're coming towards the end of November. Most Arsenal fans are breathing a sigh of relief in the fact that we haven't actually technically lost, but our performances are just as bad as whenever we play in November. So it's just a case of luck that we just haven't lost at the moment. It'd be nice to sign off November with a win, but it's not going to be an easy team to do it against. Bournemouth, I've watched a couple of previews already, people like Troops and even on Arsenal Fan TV, and they seem confident that will win like Bournemouth or just anyone. Now, admittedly, they're not going to have one of their most important players in Jack Wilshere because, quite frankly, he's our player. We've loaned them to him, so it's against Premier League rules for him to play against us. Having said that, mark my words, even without Jack, they still have a couple of decent little players. Eddie Howe's got them playing really, really well. And this won't be an easy test. Especially the way we're playing, this will not be an easy test. And we're not playing. I mean, as badly as we're playing away, we're playing even worse at home. So difficult to really say how I think this game will go, and a lot of it will depend on what team we play. You guys know my reservations on people like Ramsey. But I am starting to have a reservation on Carl, to be perfectly honest. See, I never know how to do these 1-11s. Do I go with what I think he should play and then mention I think I'm going to do it that way. So I'm going to go with my 1-11 of what I would play with a little asterisk next to it in terms of who I think he'll go with. So Czech's the Premier League keeper, he'll come in, as he should. Left back, I actually think he'll stick with Gibbs. I don't think Monreal's had a good couple of games. There was a story that came out last week that said that he was missing La Liga and he was feeling homesick and he's not sure if he wants to stay at Arsenal, not because he doesn't like the club, but because he's just missing home. And I think that's starting to now, a man we used to confidently call Mr. Dependable, Mr. Consistent, has not been so consistent. And it's a shame, really. It's a shame. It's very possible Wenger might bring him back in, but I've just got this feeling he'll stick with. Bear in mind, Bournemouth are a young, energetic team. So I just got this feeling he'll stick with Gibbs, left back. Defense, I think Kashani will play. Now, here's what I would do. let's try Mustafi right back and bring in. I've heard people mention Gabriel. I personally bring in Holding. I really like Holding as a player. I think he's quick, energetic, keen to impress. Has always done well in football league games. Now, don't get me wrong, he ain't gonna do this. Wenger's probably gonna stick with Carl Jenkinson. He'll figure that he'll get better the more games he plays, which I understand the theory. I just don't know if that will happen. And I think Mustafi will continue to play alongside Kashani. While we remain undefeated, I think Wenger will reason that, well, there's no point fixing what's technically not broken. So I can understand that theory. I would just try something different. And I think Bournemouth at home, yes, this won't be an easy game, but I think you can afford to try something different against Bournemouth. In the middle, I believe Coquelin will play, and I feel he should. I guess the key question is who plays next to him. I've got a feeling Ramsey will play. Who should play is Xhaka. I have no idea whose tea he pissed in or shitted on, because the way he's being treated, my gosh, Wenger does not seem to fancy Xhaka at the moment. I'm hoping this is some grand plan to make Xhaka extra hungry for when he gets in the team. That's what I'm really hoping. Xhaka should play. Xhaka would play in my team, but I don't feel he's going to play in this game. I feel like Ramsey's going to play in this game because you know what Wenger's like with Ramsey. Then the team starts getting interesting because you think to yourself, well, who would play? Here's what I would do. I would stick Alexis up front, Ozil number 10, of course, Theo on the right, and Ox. I know I've said it before. I don't know if Ox can play left wing, but listen, the cameo roles that he's coming in to do, he deserves something. Let's try him. Try him there. You know, I can be honest as an Arsenal fan. You know, there's a few things that we have to just be honest about. Ozil, for whatever reason, has been missing in action. Now, shout out to my boy Lee Gunner on Twitter. I'm not quite as brutal as him. If it was up to him, he would drop Ozil. I tell you, he would drop it for a couple of games. Give him a reality check. I wouldn't. I think this is the type of game that Ozil could potentially work some form back in. So I'm looking forward to trolling Lee once he does score. Even though I completely agree with him to a certain degree that Ozil has just been missing in action. So I expect him to slot. So that's what I would do. I slot him behind number 10. And also, you know, Iwobi, I've been a starch defender of him. Blimey, I've had Twitter arguments with people about Iwobi. Let's be honest, he's not been on form. I think he's shown signs of life against PSG when a lot of our players weren't. But he's not been on great form. And I think for that reason, you have to keep him on the bench. You just have to. And you have to reward someone who is going to perform. And that man could potentially be Alex. You never know. So that would be my front four in terms of Oxlade-Chamberlain, Ozil, Theo, Alexis. I don't think that's the four that's going to start. I think the four that will end up starting will probably be Alexis out left, Ozil as a number 10, Theo on the right, and Giroud up front. Now, I've got nothing against Giroud. Don't get me wrong. I think his attributes are needed in a lot of games, particularly games where the defense is quite physical, or the defense is particularly quick, and you just need something a little bit different. Unfortunately, it comes to a point where you just have to say, you know what? He's just a tremendous asset to have in the team. is a brilliant plan B. There's nothing wrong with that. There was nothing wrong with There's nothing wrong with being a Solskjaer or a Teddy Sheringham apart from the fact, apart from who they play for. But in terms of qualities of players, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a Sylvain Walter. I love Sylvain Walter. He used to come on and change the game for us. There's nothing wrong with that. But I can understand from his point of view, he's turned 30. I think he's going on to be 31. He doesn't want to be sitting on the bench. But here's the thing. The man who gets paid £8 million a year should say, you know what? I don't give a damn. This is the team I'm playing. We have a lot more movement when Alexis is up front. Now, don't get me wrong. If you would ask me this at the start of the season, I was never a massive advocate of Alexis playing up front. Having said that, he's clearly learned the role. He's clearly playing very well up there, albeit not the last couple of matches. But prior to the international break, he was clearly playing very well, clearly enjoying the role. He even had a quote the other day saying how much he was enjoying playing up front. So there is something there, and there is a lot of movement there when Alexis is there, and it allows us to press a bit better. It allows us to press the defence a little bit more when Alexis is up front. I've mentioned this in a previous review of mine before. When Alexis is playing up front, because he's such a tenacious character, so what he does is he immediately presses the defence. And because he presses the defence, he demands that other people follow him to press. You just watch when Alexis and Theo are playing in tandem and we don't have the ball, but Alexis is high up front, pressing the defence. Theo will do the same. Or won't be on the odd occasion, will do the same. I just want us to do that because I think pace is our best friend when it comes to one of our strongest attributes. When we move the ball with pace, very rarely do we lose that game. And that's why, and this is why people don't understand, that's why I am counting down the days until Welbeck comes back. Now, I know you may laugh when I say that, but the one thing I would say about Welbeck is that man works, runs so hard. So if you wanted another option, not necessarily to play up front, although I like him up front, play him on the left with Alexis up front and Theo up front. I guarantee you we are pressing that defense. And that's where we play our best football. That's exactly what we did to Chelsea. We harassed them and harassed them and harassed them and beat them into submission. And quite frankly, and I've said this on many, many occasions, 3-0 flattered them. In out of sight first half. First half. And I just want us to get back to that. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, it just has to be said. I don't care if you're a big Giroud defender. I don't care if you're a big Ramsey defender. As soon as these two started coming into our team, our whole general play started to slow down. Now, don't get me wrong, with Giroud, I put an asterisk by that. He started his first game in a long time against PSG. But PSG was a good example of the way we play when Giroud is up front. Giroud doesn't run, so there's not a lot of movement there. Therefore, we're trying to hit long balls from Jenkinson and people like that who have no business hitting long balls. Whereas when Alexis is up front, we're building up the play. We're having people like Mesut Ozil has no choice but to get involved in the play. And that's what I want to see us do. I want to see us go back to that gradual build-up play, that high-pressing play that brought us so much success against people like Basel at home. Basel at home, it was only 2-0, but we absolutely annihilated them on the pitch. That was the last time we played really well. And I don't know what the hell has happened. So, with all that being said, I think my prediction for this is probably going to be Arsenal 2, Bournemouth 0. I'm going to try and show belief. I think we'll win because we need to win. I think we need to win as much as we possibly can until that City game, which will be a difficult game because it is away and it is a Pep team, let's be honest. So I'm going to go for 2-0 and I'm hoping for the best here. So that's pretty much it from me. You guys let me know what you think about the game, what your predicted scores would be. What do you think your starting lineup would be? I'm going to try and do a review. He doesn't know it yet, but if he's listening to this, he will. I'm going to try and do a review with Colin, and if possible, if Tops is free later, I might also try and get him on to make their Gooner Eagle Eye debuts. So do keep an eye for the review. Hopefully it'll go up Sunday night. And yeah, that's it from me. All right, people. Take care. I'm out of here. Peace.